Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new expressions you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started with our first expression. Number 1, don't hold back. This phrase means don't be shy, don't hesitate, or don't keep your feelings or thoughts to yourself. When someone says don't hold back, they're encouraging you to be completely honest, to give your best effort, or to not worry about being polite or careful. It's like saying go for it, or be completely honest with me. Let me tell you about my friend Sarah. She was at a job interview last month, and the interviewer asked her about her weaknesses. Sarah started to give a very safe, polite answer, but then the interviewer smiled and said, "Don't hold back. I want to know what you really think about yourself and how you want to improve." Sarah realized the interviewer wanted her complete honesty, not just a perfect answer. For example, if your friend asks for your opinion about their new haircut and says, "Don't hold back," they really want your honest opinion, even if it's not completely positive. You might hear something like, "I'm asking for feedback on my presentation, so please don't hold back. I want to know everything I can improve." Here's another one. When you're playing in the game tomorrow, don't hold back. Give it everything you've got. This phrase is really useful when you want someone to be completely honest with you, or when you want to encourage someone to try their absolute best. Have you ever been in a situation where someone told you not to hold back? Let me know in the comments. Number 2, you nailed it. This expression is such a fun way to tell someone they did something perfectly. When you say you nailed it, you mean someone did an amazing job, they got it exactly right, or they succeeded completely. It's like hitting a nail perfectly with a hammer, right into the wood with one perfect hit. I remember when my little cousin was learning to ride a bicycle. She had been practicing for weeks, falling down and getting frustrated. But one sunny afternoon, she got on that bike and rode all the way down the street without any help. When she came back, her face was glowing with happiness. I ran up to her and said, "You nailed it, that was perfect." She was so proud of herself. For example, if your friend gives a presentation at work and it goes really well, you could say, "Wow, you totally nailed that presentation. Everyone loved it." You might hear something like, "I was so nervous about the cooking competition, but when I saw the judges' faces, I knew I nailed it." Let's take this one. Did you see how Maria answered that difficult question in class? She absolutely nailed it. This expression is perfect for celebrating someone's success or achievement. It's more exciting and energetic than just saying "good job." Do you think you could use this expression to encourage your friends? Which situations in your life would be perfect for saying "you nailed it"? Number 3, put yourself in my shoes. This idiom is asking someone to imagine they are in your exact situation. When you say, "Put yourself in my shoes," you want someone to think about how they would feel or what they would do if they were experiencing exactly what you're going through. It's asking for empathy and understanding. My neighbor Lisa used this expression with me just last week. She was dealing with a really difficult situation at work. Her boss was asking her to work every weekend for a month, but she had also promised to help her elderly mother with some important medical appointments. Lisa looked exhausted and said to me, "I don't know what to do. Put yourself in my shoes. How would you handle this? I feel like I'm letting someone down no matter what I choose." For example, if you're trying to explain a difficult decision to a friend, you might say, "Put yourself in my shoes. Would you quit your job to take care of your sick parent?" You might hear something like, "Before you judge me for being upset, put yourself in my shoes. How would you feel if your best friend forgot your birthday?" Here's another one. "Put yourself in my shoes and tell me honestly what you would do in this situation." This idiom is really helpful when you want someone to understand your perspective better. It's asking them to use their imagination and empathy. Have you ever had to ask someone to put themselves in your shoes? Let me know in the comments about a time when you needed someone to really understand your situation. Number 4. What would you do if you were me? This question is asking for advice, but in a very personal way. When someone asks, "What would you do if you were me?" they're asking you to imagine being in their exact situation and then tell them what decision you would make. It's a way of asking for help with a difficult choice. My friend Tom asked me this question a few months ago. He had 2 job offers, and both seemed really good but in different ways. One job paid more money, but required him to travel all the time. The other job paid less, but was close to his family and would let him have a better work-life balance. He sat in my kitchen, drinking coffee, and said, "I'm so confused. What would you do if you were me? I honestly can't decide which opportunity is better for my future." For example, if you're struggling with whether to move to a new city for school, you might ask a trusted friend, "What would you do if you were me? Is it worth leaving everything familiar behind?" People often say, "My boyfriend wants to get married, but I feel like we're too young. What would you do if you were me?" Imagine this. "I got accepted to my dream university, but my family needs me to stay home and help with our family business. What would you do if you were me?" This question shows that you trust someone's judgment and that you're really struggling with a decision. It's more personal than just asking, "What should I do?" because you're asking them to really think deeply about your specific situation. Do you have any big decisions in your life right now where you might ask someone this question? Number 5, there's no other option. This expression means that you only have one choice available, or that all the other choices are impossible or unrealistic. When someone says there's no other option, they're explaining that they have to do something because it's the only thing that makes sense or the only thing that's possible. I'll never forget when my car broke down in the middle of winter, far from home. I was driving to visit my grandmother, and suddenly my car started making terrible noises and smoke started coming from the engine. I pulled over and called my dad. After he listened to me describe the problem, he said, "Honey, you need to call a tow truck right now. There's no other option. You cannot drive that car anymore, and it's too cold and dangerous to walk." I realized he was completely right. For example, if someone is very sick and needs surgery, a doctor might say, "I know surgery sounds scary, but there's no other option if you want to get better." You might hear something like, "The deadline for the project is tomorrow morning, and we're not finished yet. There's no other option. We have to work all night." Let's take this one. The flight was canceled due to the storm, and there's no other option but to wait until tomorrow. This expression helps explain when you don't really have a choice about something. It shows that the situation has forced you to do something, even if you don't want to. Have you ever been in a situation where there was no other option? Tell me about it in the comments. Number 6. Have I ever been wrong? This question is usually asked by someone who wants to remind you that they have good judgment or that they're usually right about things. When someone asks, "Have I ever been wrong?" they're being a little bit confident, maybe even a little bit playful, about their track record of being correct. My older brother uses this question all the time, and it always makes me laugh. Last summer, he told me I should try a new restaurant in our neighborhood. I wasn't sure because the food looked unusual, and I'm sometimes picky about trying new things. My brother said, "Trust me, you're going to love this place. Have I ever been wrong about restaurants?" I thought about it, and honestly, he had always given me great recommendations. So I went, and the food was absolutely delicious. For example, if your friend is giving you advice about dating and they've helped you before, they might say, "You should definitely go on a second date with him." Have I ever been wrong about these things? You might hear something like, "I'm telling you, that movie is going to be amazing." Have I ever been wrong about movies? Here's another one. "Trust me about this investment opportunity." Have I ever been wrong about money decisions? This question can be a little bit funny because the person is being confident about their own judgment. But sometimes people ask it seriously when they really do have a good track record. Do you have a friend or family member who always gives good advice and might ask this question? Let me know in the comments. Number 7. I couldn't agree more. This expression means that you completely and totally agree with what someone just said. When you say, "I couldn't agree more," you're telling someone that it would be impossible for you to agree with them any more than you already do. It's a very strong way of showing agreement. My friend Jessica and I were talking about how important it is to spend time with family. She was telling me that no matter how busy life gets, we should always make time for the people we love most. She said, "I think family should always come first, even when work gets crazy." I looked at her and said, "I couldn't agree more. That's exactly how I feel. Family is the most important thing in life." We both smiled because we felt so connected in that moment. For example, if someone says that learning a new language takes a lot of practice, you might respond, "I couldn't agree more. I've been studying English for years, and practice is definitely the key." People often say, "Exercise is so important for mental health." I couldn't agree more. I always feel happier after I go for a run. Imagine this. Traveling really opens your mind to new cultures. I couldn't agree more. Every trip I take teaches me something new about the world. This expression is perfect when someone says something that matches your beliefs or opinions exactly. It's stronger than just saying, "I agree," because it shows you feel very strongly about the topic. Do you think you could use this expression in your daily conversations? What topics do you have strong opinions about? Number 8. Not in a million years. This expression means absolutely never or there's no way that will happen. When someone says not in a million years, they're being dramatic to show that something is completely impossible or that they would never do something. It's a fun, expressive way to say never. My friend Mike is absolutely terrified of heights. I mean, he won't even go to the second floor of a shopping mall without feeling nervous. Last month, a group of us were planning to go skydiving for our friend's birthday celebration. When we asked Mike if he wanted to join us, he immediately shook his head and said, "Not in a million years." You couldn't pay me enough money to jump out of an airplane. We all laughed because we knew he was completely serious. For example, if someone asks if you would ever eat insects, you might say, "Not in a million years. That's definitely not for me." You might hear something like, "Would you ever go back to your ex-boyfriend?" Not in a million years. That relationship is completely over. Let's take this one. Do you think our teacher would cancel the final exam? Not in a million years. She's way too strict for that. This expression is really useful when you want to emphasize how unlikely something is or how strongly you feel about not doing something. It adds drama and humor to your conversation. What's something you would say "not in a million years" about? Share with me in the comments. Number 9, pull over. This phrase is very practical and important, especially if you're driving or riding in a car. Pull over means to move your car to the side of the road and stop. You might need to pull over because of car problems, because the police want you to stop, or because you need to stop for some other reason. I remember a road trip I took with my family 2 years ago. We were driving through the mountains, enjoying the beautiful scenery, when suddenly my dad started feeling very sick. He was driving, and his face turned pale. My mom immediately said, "Honey, you need to pull over right now. You don't look good at all." Dad carefully moved the car to the side of the mountain road and stopped. We gave him some water and waited until he felt better. It was definitely the right decision to pull over instead of trying to keep driving. For example, if you're driving and you hear a strange noise from your car engine, your passenger might say, "Something doesn't sound right. You should pull over and check what's wrong." You might hear something like, "I think I left my wallet at the restaurant. Can you pull over so I can call them?" Here's another one. "The police car behind us has its lights flashing. You need to pull over immediately." This phrase is essential for anyone who drives or rides in cars. It's about safety and following traffic rules. Even if English isn't your first language, knowing this phrase could be really important someday. Have you ever been in a situation where someone needed to pull over? Let me know in the comments. Number 10, we don't see eye to eye. This idiom means that two people have different opinions about something and they disagree, but it's usually said in a gentle way. When you say, "we don't see eye to eye," you're acknowledging that you and another person think differently about a topic, but you're not necessarily angry about it. My roommate and I don't see eye to eye about how to keep our apartment. I like everything to be very clean and organized, and I prefer to clean up immediately after cooking or eating. She's more relaxed and doesn't mind if dishes sit in the sink for a day or two. We talked about it one evening, and she said, "I know we don't see eye to eye about housework, but maybe we can find a compromise that works for both of us." We ended up creating a cleaning schedule that made us both happy. For example, if you and your partner have different ideas about how to spend money, you might say, "We don't see eye to eye about our budget, but we're working on finding a solution." People often say, "My parents and I don't see eye to eye about my career choices, but I respect their opinions even though I disagree." Imagine this. "My coworker and I don't see eye to eye about the best way to handle this project, so we're going to ask our manager for advice." This idiom is really useful because it's a polite way to talk about disagreements. It shows that you understand people can have different views without being enemies. Do you have anyone in your life that you don't always see eye to eye with? How do you handle those situations? Tell me in the comments. Let's recap what we learned today. We covered so many useful expressions today. Let's quickly go through them one more time. We learned "don't hold back," which means to be completely honest or give your best effort. You nailed it is a great way to celebrate when someone does something perfectly. Put yourself in my shoes. Ask someone to imagine being in your situation. What would you do if you were me? Is asking for personal advice about a difficult decision. We also learned that there's no other option means you only have one choice available. Have I ever been wrong? Is a confident way to remind someone about your good judgment. I couldn't agree more shows that you completely agree with someone. Not in a million years means absolutely never in a dramatic way. Pull over is important for driving and means to stop your car on the side of the road. And finally, we don't see eye to eye is a polite way to say that two people disagree about something. These expressions will make your English sound much more natural and help you connect better with native speakers. Remember, the key to learning these expressions is practice, practice, practice. Try to use at least one of these in a conversation this week. If this video helped you learn something new, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Tomorrow I'll be back with 10 more amazing idioms, phrases, and sentences that will take your English to the next level. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? And which one do you think you'll use first? Let me know in the comments below. Take care, keep practicing your English, and I'll see you tomorrow for another fun lesson. Remember, every day you practice, you're getting closer to speaking English like a native speaker. You're doing great, and I'm so proud of your progress. See you soon.